Good morning. This is Gwen. Today is Saturday morning on April 29th, 2017. The time is about 11:58 a.m., almost 12 noon. Okay. Today we're going to discuss a problem. The title of this one is called Black People. We are indeed in a battle of good and evil. And what I'm going to talk about are the two forces, the divine force of creation and the divine force of destruction. So let me read my overview for you. I got down here number one, creative force. This is the force that builds and creates. Destructive force is the force that breaks down that which has been created. They work together in balance. When they're in proper balance, they work together to maintain life and is part of the life cycle. For example, we eat, we break down food, then it builds and nourishes our body. Breakdown is the force of destruction, to build is the force of creation. We need both to exist. All things must be, all created things must be used to survive, from the micro level to the macro level. That is, one microbe will eat another one to build itself. Plants break down dirt and soil and the nutrients in the soil in order to grow. So, item four is they both need to be in proper balance. Creation, and I also have down here that creation must be ahead of destruction, or else we all cease to exist. Think about that a second. Creation must be ahead of destruction, or else all things will cease to exist because it's all destroyed. Okay, right now the destruction force is gaining too much ground and our world is becoming unlivable. You just have to look around to see that. So I'm going to discuss creation force first. The overview for this is the force that builds, creates, and maintains. Item two is because we see that creation force has created life all around us, we consider it good. Three, most cultures ascribe a divine identity to this force. Various gods, goddesses, and other, multi or singular. And this is throughout time and space. Of note is that this force is considered female because of the nature of creative process, i.e., Mother Earth. It's not a designation but an identity as well. Now, let's talk about building and regulating and creating. All things, when it breaks down, it's to be reused into something else, because that's the way this plane of existence is. All things have to use something else to build itself. So in order for it to be rebuilt or reused, it's creation and it builds. So I'm focused on the building process for a second. Even within your body, there's that building process happening. Um, we inhale, there's microbes in our lungs and in the air that break down that for our body to use. So everything we're doing at all levels is all building based on something else that was broke down, and that's how we live. Everything, uh, fr- on every level. So it's happening, and that's what it's supposed to do. That's part of the divine order. Is that things break down to be rebuilt, and this building is what helps us live. So if we didn't have anything to consume or to eat, we wouldn't be able to live because we won't have the nourishment to build our body or even to maintain our body. Okay. Now, in various cultures throughout the world and throughout time, we've ascribed a divine identity to this force of creation. It might be gods, goddesses. It might be other. Like some people don't worship thing with the gender. They might worship a tree or a rock or a sacred place. And so all of that. matters, but they gave a divine identity, and they called it good. The divine force of good is the divine force of creation, and that which is created is us and the world around us. Things that grow, things that in us, animals, plants, all of that. That's part of the create that which is created, and we call it good. And I'm reading here now. We've always said it in all of our histories of humans. That is the people that are close to the earth that grew things, and they have some various designation for Mother Earth. And that's one of the ones that lasted is the words Mother Earth, and there's a reason for it. When seeds are planted in the earth, they grow into a plant, and that plant, if you eat it, is a part of the harvest that mimics the female body. When seeds are planted in the female human, that is a male sperm, a baby grows. If it germinates, if it's fertilized, if an egg is fertilized, a baby grows right in her body, and it expels and it becomes a person. So it is with all creatures on the planet that have genders, and the female can be planted. So not only plants come out of the earth, but so do females of all species give birth by egg or spawning, whatever comes out, they make the babies. Most cultures and humans call this female, the female process or the creative process, and it mimics the earth. That's why they call it Mother Earth, or else females are mothers and they're named after the earth. It's the same process. So many cultures ascribe that process, the creative process, to female. Some cultures call it male, but most call it female. That's just a side note. But anyway, we do recognize that the creative force is divine, and we gave it a divine identity, and humans have called this a good force, or good, the force of good. The destructive force is often called evil. Now, let me give you a quick overview of what we're talking about here. The opposite is still needed. The destructive force is still needed, but we often do call it evil. This force is what breaks down created things so that it can be used to create other things. It's part of nature's balance when it's in balance. Unfortunately, nature is not in balance right now. But the way it works is that organic things rot and return to the earth to be reused, recreated, where they rebuild and become a part of the life cycle. The instrument of the breakdown are the microbes that make our organic things degrade. And I'm gonna add to it like flies who put maggots that breaks it down. Everything that makes things rot and degrade. That's part of the instrument that helps things break down. And even when disaster strikes, we say that this is bad or evil. We feel damned. We feel cursed. We feel like we've been visited by disaster. We call the force of destruction evil. We ascribe an evil identity to this force. The devil, the great destroyer, etc. All cultures have a name for it. They gave it a divine identity throughout time and space as well. It is evil when the forces are not in balance, and I agree with ancient man on that. Let me pause for a second. I had to snort and sniff and hack because I'm catching a cold. It's early for me, and I had to take a sip of drink of, of liquid. But anyway, what I'm saying is that I agree with the ancient humans who did ascribe a force of bad destruction, and in my case, I'm saying out of balance destruction as a force of evil because it's not in balance. We're destroying our planet faster than it can replenish itself. This is the only place we got to live, and so we have to have a balance between creation and destruction. When destruction outpaces creation, then we die. We don't want that to happen. So that's why I agree with ancient man when they call that evil. It's- When you hear me clicking, I'm just clicking through my Word document here that I'm using to as my overview and things I want to make sure that I look at. Now, this part is called good versus evil. I just described why people call creation good, and I've just described why they call destruction evil. Some of this stuff you're going to have to listen to and think about yourself because I've said the words, but a lot of that stuff that I just said is heavy stuff. So I want you to think about that. I mean, pause it and run it through your mind a bit because I am essentially agreeing with people who have been saying things like this for years. Years. I'm just mapping it out about why that's so. Because a lot of people don't think about it that deeply. But we are in a battle of good versus evil, creation versus destruction, creation versus destruction, good versus evil. Now, think about our modern world and can you see where I'm going with this? Can you see where I'm going with this thought? Many of you can, some of you can't. And the ones that can, you are exactly correct. It is clear to me, and there's no other way around it, that white people are a force of destruction. Yeah, white people are a force of destruction. The reason why we say that is because the earth was pretty pristine before they came out the caves, or before they came out of North Europe and began the process of colonizing and doing what they call developing and civilizing and all of that to create what we have now. They used us to do it because we were working for them. But right now, this planet's on the eve of destruction, and I dare anybody to find a pristine piece of land anywhere on the planet that they won't try to destroy or what they call develop. They this planet is a mess now, and it was pretty pristine before they came out. So it's polluted. It's the air is polluted, the water's polluted, and the earth is polluted. They're not doing the creation and destructive forces in balance. They destroy and don't reuse. Okay? All that they create is stuff that can't be broke down and reused, and that's a problem. So, I mean, like plastics and things like that. Nor is there a big industry investigating how to break this stuff back down to its natural element at the elemental level where like the periodic table like aluminum and mercury and whatever is on the periodic table of elements. Okay, that's the level that you have to break down this junk that's pollution down to that level before it can be rebuilt into something else. We're not doing that. All we're doing is making garbage, putting it in the earth, putting it in the water, throwing it out in space, putting it in the air, and not reusing it, nor is it in a form that it can be reused. So thus it's creating more damage and pollution. We're moving more and more and more what they call civilized places that is the habitat of humans, and we're creating disaster for ourselves. There's no reason for this planet to have people starving, for example. I look at people in the tropics starving because they don't have food. That is about the stupidest thing. In fact, this planet is in the food making business. That's what it does. This ball of dirt is designed to grow stuff. That's what the dirt is designed to do. There is dirt all around us, everywhere, but it's owned by somebody. We can't grow food on it because the agricultural industry wants to supply the food. So we have to let dirt lay fallow, eroding, or being maintained as golf courses and other wide expanses of dirt without growing food on it. This plant is in the food making business. It grows plants. It'll grow food wild if you let it. We never had to have trouble eating food or growing food. We evolved to eat the food that the planet grows. If we didn't evolve to eat it, we would have died out. The species that couldn't eat the food that the planet grew didn't survive to the future. They died out. All of us are designed to eat what this planet grows. And this planet grows food that we could eat if we let it. But human beings decided to interfere with that. And modern humans wants to have the agricultural industry so that you're forced to buy your food from them as they pollute it and modify it and create stuff that's killing your body. Okay? That's a orchestrated cycle of destruction. You're growing poison food that's going to kill everybody, yet you want to control the food so that everybody has to buy it from you. So, whereas we could be eating and growing our own food right where we are. Ugh. It's just that's just mind-bogglingly dumb. But that's what we're in. That's the cycle we're in. I dare you to just go start planting an orchard at a golf course or something. But it should be able to do that because human beings, before the beasts came out of their cave, or before white people came out of their caves, we were able to do that and grow the food all around us. And it was a and the people that were there kept the earth pretty pristine and in balance, like it should have been. Okay, by force of destruction is that, and it's because of the breakdown, and I'm gonna talk more about that in a second. Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that whites are a force of destruction. And my question about that is, are they the instrument of destruction or destruction itself? That is, like up there when I was talking about the force of destruction being the microbes that help break down food so that it'll rot and be used for something else. Those microbes are an instrument of destruction because they make the food rot so it can break down. That's a balanced bit of instrument of destruction. Okay, but my question is, why are whites being used as an instrument of destruction, or are they complicit in that instrument of destruction? Are they the force of destruction, and they're the arms and legs acting out the will of destruction, or are they being used as a mere instrument and don't see themselves as the will of destruction, or not evil? Like the microbes that are breaking down food aren't evil, but if the microbe is seeking out things to break down because they want to do it for breakdown's sake, then that's a different level. And I might be saying that badly, but it's a difference in that. Okay, it's a thin line between whether you're the instrument and you're just a tool being duped versus you're complicit and wanting to do it because you want to do it and you are wanting to destroy everything because you're evil. That's my question. And I don't know the difference yet. And I wrote down, are they pawns or are they actively complicit? Are they being used to act like demons or are they actually demons? And then I wrote down here, make sure I say this. Remember that demons are the minions of the devil, and we established that the devil is evil in this discussion, or the doer of evil in this discussion, the force of evil. And then among the things they call that force of evil is the devil. Since we're in Western culture and that's the word we know most about, I'm going to use the word devil. And demons are minions of the devil. They act on the devil's behalf. Okay, so are they are are they there to do his bidding, or are they his instruments? If you destroy, then you are destruction itself when out of balance. And right now we're out of balance. So that's my question about white people. Are they the instrument, or are they actively complicit? Do they really mean to do evil, or are they forced to do it because they're the weakest of the humans and more susceptible to the will of evil? I don't know, and I don't see any difference. So I'm going to leave it at that until I figure it out. But right now, the actions are the same. They are destructive. So we're not only, and this is my final chapter, we're not only in a battle over races, we are in a battle of good versus evil, a battle to save creation or to let creation be destroyed. Our divine creation, and I got down here, we are failing our forces of divine creation because we let evil destruction take over. We're leaving divine creation to the ravages of evil. And I got down here, this must change. So we have listened to the forces of destruction and let it come into our lands and pollute our land with us being used by it. And that's the problem. And so that's why I'm writing down that and recording that we are in a battle of good versus evil as well as races. We are the diametric opposite of white people on every level. And we failed our job at protecting creation. We're failing. And and mind you, this, the way they think, they don't really want to destroy us. They just want us weakened at their mercy, completely weakened at their mercy. And honestly, that's why I'm almost thinking that they are being used as instrument of destruction more than actually being destruction itself. It's because they're acting too robotic. They're acting almost like they're possessed. And it's weird. It's on a cosmic level of divine weirdness. Have you looked at the TV and watched the people who are in government, the people who are on, I'm talking about Donald Trump and the Republicans and some of the Democrats. They are acting like somebody is pulling their strings from somewhere else because things are clearly wrong in government, but everybody's acting like they don't know. It's like a big elephant in a room of hell, and they're acting like they don't know. We've got, I swear to heaven, if we had a being with horns and a tail, we'd be acting the same way, trying to figure out laws and playing games about why that ain't happening. I'm not saying I don't know what the I think he's a figurehead more than anything. Donald Trump, bless his heart, or not bless his heart, but I think he's more of a figurehead who thinks he's running things, but I think something is pulling him and all the people around him because that's just darn weird. It is. I don't know how that's going to go down in history if we even have a history or a future. How that's going to how they're going to explain that, but the people who can't do anything about it aren't even in a position to do anything about it. And the people who can do anything about it are acting like they don't see it. And it is weird on such a level. But in the meanwhile, we're with I learned long ago that white people were in general the arms and legs of the rich. That is, they're the ones who go out and do the rich people's bidding and what they say, even to their own destruction. And it was like when they were voting, they weren't able to even see beyond race. Sorry about that noise. Race long enough to recognize that they were voting to cut their own throats. And then when President Obama is out of office and they can see a little bit clearer, they're trying to backtrack on the things that they asked for, such as the destruction of Obamacare. They wanted that gone, and it's mostly because it was President Obama that put it there. And then now that he's out of office and gone on about his business, they're able to see more objectively on that level. And now they're fussing about them getting rid of Obamacare or trying to get rid of it. And so that's a sign of somebody that's crazy, mentally ill. Okay? So as black people, have to make sure we get control back from white people because they can't stop themselves from destroying anything that's pristine and pure. They want to corrupt and defile, and we can't afford to let them do that anymore. So our first step in our battle is to get our own act together so that we can be strong enough to take away control of the planet from white people so that we can put it back in order. This is a big mess that needs to be cleaned up, and the longer we wait to clean it up, the worse it gets. And the bad kids on the block, the new kids that came out of their caves, are creating a mess all over our planet, and that's the force of destruction, and thus that's evil. Okay, that's the end of this one. I wanted to keep it at about a half hour. And we just got work to do. So let's, as black people, get our act together. Listen to the things that the people who are talking about this subject are saying so that we can get ourselves under control and get our own lives in order so that we're not vulnerable to white people and that we're strong enough to fight off white people should they attack us again, and be strong enough to get evil under control. Okay, I'm done. See you next time.